Remember, they're changing my voice. How did America and all the racist whites and Jews, especially persecuting me, and token minorities and thugs, how did they respond? Tail tucked. I'm gonna have to make this video, and there's some kind of background noise because I have to make it upstairs by the staircase where there's some kind of echo. Okay, and that the different way they feel me puts me in different places in the house. It's like they're trying to stone Jesus in the Bible. Can you imagine some bootlicking coward? Well, if you're Jesus, how come Jesus didn't stop him from stoning him in the Bible? I don't know, because I'm a fucking bootlicking coward. That's stupid, right? The reason why they didn't respond tail tucked is because they're not men, so they're not doing the right thing, and it takes a man to respond. Responding with, yes, God, I'll do what you say, by their actions. They didn't do that. And if they thought I was wrong, they present their argument. When the son of two doctors, one a brain surgeon, who has a top martial arts challenge, says he's Christ, and your church says, I don't have to respond, it's because they're wrong. Did David respond to Goliath? Would Goliath have responded to David? They responded by admitting that their church spirit is cowardice. It is bitch, punk, pushover, wussy, bend over for pedo, scaredy cat, punk. And I am the top. Now, are they afraid because they think I might hurt them? Some are cops, SWAT team. They're afraid because the essence of who they are is not man. They're afraid to look like the devils they are publicly. And they're afraid of being persecuted for being a man if they obey God through me. Even if they have 100 kids, they don't hesitate to bring them to hell. Shame on them. You might say some bitch ass fucking oppressor hid in the snow bitch shit like, are you done? Bitch, are you done? Say it to your ancestors. Are you done or am I? Like that's what I thought. We're using technology, guys. Scared as can be. Like a whole fucking church. Bunch of them. Scared. Anyway. That's their formation together. Sum total. Puss. All right. No one who is born of God will continue to sin because God's seed remains in them. They cannot go on sinning because they have been born of God. This is how we know who the children of God are and the children of the devil are. Anyone who does not do what is right is not God's child, nor is anyone who does not love their brother or sister. For this is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. Do not be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. Why are all these churches and all these groups contributing to scream me out? Because their actions are evil and my actions are righteous. Do not be surprised, my brothers and sisters, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love each other. Anyone who does not love remains in death. Anyone who hates a brother or sister is a murderer. And you know that no murderer has eternal life residing in him. In terms of the continued spirit of a mere murderer. Instead of someone killing for a good reason, the continued spirit of someone just killing for selfishness or money or to save face or whatever. For the government, police, it's for their gang, for their greed, what have you. Okay. Where are we here? There was a lot of yelling earlier. But again, I get provoked and things that should be said and things go on behind the scenes. They use technology, even though people like to pretend people like me are crazy if we speak on government technology. But just like they have been using their kind of area denial weapons, their kind of heat ray guns on protesters, they've been using various fumes and smokes and gas. Over time, they have, demoted themselves to sink into the lowly level of fuming political dissidents for their free speech and teaming up with, basically fanatics behind the government. I mean, who's more fanatic than a serial killer, if not government people with starting wars for mere money and secret society traditions and mere pride? I mean, that's pretty fanatic, right? So, basically the government is the most fanatic people anyone could think of, and the rich people behind the government. So when we say, hey, those fanatics are persecuting somebody for trying to get people to do what's right, we're not like, hey, that guy must be crazy for making that claim. We must first believe the person in the absence of a strong reason not to. That doesn't mean we believe everything they say, right? And of course, you can believe me, but you need to rally to me especially to make sure that you get the truth from my own lips, because they are editing my videos, and I suggest in the future that they'll edit them more, because they've been like gradually editing. They edited my look, okay? They edit the sound of my voice. And they've done things that suggest that added word here and there. But you should already know my arguments, and why would they edit my videos in the first place over this particular issue if I wasn't the Son of God? If they can continue and be chosen, why would they edit my videos? You know, so you have a lot of answers just by the fact that they're editing my videos. You know, it's proof. All right, so where are we here? Do not be surprised, my brothers and sisters, that the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love each other. Anyone who does not love remains in death. Anyone who hates a brother or sister is a murderer, and you know that no murder that no murder has eternal life residing in. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. I'm going to have to do this video again because it's so key, but I'm going to go ahead and post this one, and then we'll get into it again. I guess I'll do it again tomorrow. Without this love in a relationship, it is a relationship based on rape by deception, spirits, hate, and all the other forms of evil. Okay, so if you don't have that love like Romeo and Juliet, but in a true divine form, I hesitate to use the word Christian because it's so perverted by the West and the so-called Christians of the world, you know. But, you know, basically a true love is when you're willing to die for God and you're willing to die for each other, serving God. You see what I'm saying? As long as it's in the boundaries of serving God. Without that in a relationship, it's just a bunch of children playing rape-called games, afraid to do the right thing, and so on and so forth. Okay. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Okay, so this goes back to, America with over 600,000 homeless people. There's a bunch of, communist socialists. There's people who are Republicans who stand up for veterans. A lot of Republicans voted in a poll, at least, they said that they wouldn't mind the rich paying more taxes, but yet they refuse to come together for a war on poverty plan to end homelessness and hunger and so on and so forth. The other day I saw at a bus stop, it said something about, when I was driving by, some kind of poster that said, ending hunger could be a reality or something like this, okay? But we look at rate, right? There's a reason why, they talk about rhyme and reason. It says ate, late, fate, mate, hate, rate, right? The hate and the rate are connected, right? It makes you hate the inhabitants of the earth with the divine and justified righteous anger of God. So hate kind of is semantics, right? A justified hate, okay? A justified resentment, a justified disdain and loathing, okay? Like it says in the Bible, I look at the faithless with loathing because they do not, they look at the faithless with loathing for they do not obey your word, okay? So it makes you hate the inhabitants of the earth for the right reasons, in the right way, because they simply won't do the right thing. Okay, they're kind of feeling me, so I kind of lose my train of thought. So let me just finish this off here. I notice my speech patterns are changing. Lo and behold, to try to play out political dissidence, they might be arguing national security, like, hey, we can't afford to let people, lead themselves these days because there's terrorists trying to, and it's fucking retarded. Since when hasn't there been dangerous people trying to lead people? As Russian spies, right? The Viet Cong, if that's a derogatory term, I apologize, but you get the point here, okay? It's these various groups of people from other countries, okay? There was Muslim terrorists before 9/11, right? There was Christian terrorists, right? There was white supremacists. There's always been all kinds of violent people trying to lead people. Look at the 90s, right? Gang members, da-da-da. But now all of a sudden, now that Christ is back, it's of the utmost fucking importance to make sure that only government shills are leading groups. Like, we feel the same way as you, and we should lead your group so everyone can feel safe and comfortable. And while they're making this argument, mass shootings are at an all-time high. And they look like textbook mind control shills. More so than Sirhan and conspiracy theory or whatever it was. Okay? Textbook government-trained shills. And it came out that the government was funding Al-Qaeda-related groups like Al-Nusra, the Al-Nusra Front, okay, in the Middle East. It came out, and they admitted, mainstream news admitted Same people talking about conspiracy theory, denying 9/11 could possibly be an inside job, turn around and say, yes, these guys are funding Al-Qaeda's allies. And you're assuming that it's insane to believe that it might not have been, people with vested interest, war profiteers, okay? I think war profiteers sit around twiddling their thumbs when there's billions of dollars at stake. I mean, it takes one stupid fuck. People get shot over $20 in the hood type of thing. Shot over, one hit of the crack pipe. But you think it is insane to believe that people with billions of dollars to gain would have possibly launched an attack on their own country, collaborating with their diaspora abroad, their family members, their race abroad, to make sure that they make lots of money and keep controlling things. I mean, it is unbelievable, how crazy it is. Far crazier than any conspiracy theory I heard in my life, including weird reptilians, okay, is people who think that 9/11 couldn't have possibly been something that the Americans did themselves with the Israelis and the West in general and their allies all over the world, as part of their governing class, globalist, transnational corporation rackets. Okay, unfucking believable. That's like if somebody does a drive-by in Compton, you say maybe it was the Crips or the Bloods or the Serenos, and you're like, no, that's fucking crazy, man. Why do you think that? Now, if the evidence starts piling up, to the moon, and you say, hey, I think that's got to be what happened. No, you're fucking nuts. That's fucking crazy. Anyway. So basically what it's saying, let me just go ahead and finish this here. All right. Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. Again, actions and in truth. How do you show love? Actions and truth. Not just saying, oh, I love you, but actually doing the right thing. This is how we know that we belong to the truth and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence. If our hearts condemn us, we know that we belong to the truth and how we set our hearts at rest in peace in his presence. If our... Okay, excuse me. Let me feel me. Sometimes I read like the same line and I have to kind of take a second. If our hearts condemn us, we know that God is greater than our hearts and he knows everything. Dear friends, if our hearts do not condemn us, we have confidence before God and receive from him anything we ask because we keep his commands and do what pleases him. And this is his command, to believe in the name of his son. The name is the Spirit, right? What does it mean to be in the Spirit of God, right? Righteousness, justice, characteristics. Name is mean, scrambled there. It's spelled out for you. Jesus Christ, and to love one another as he commanded us, being willing to die for them. We went over that earlier, okay? The one who keeps commands lives in him and he in them, and this is how we know that he lives in us. We know it by the Spirit he gave us. We know it by the Spirit we gave us. He gave us, right? And that's me. And its righteousness and justice is universal, pinpointed moral precision. You see, the churches run from that term, with all their might. And if they ever use it, it'll be in the fakest context. Immediately they're full of BS if they don't use a term that's similar to that. Universal, pinpointed moral precision, and all the time. And we know they're BS because none of them are being got through me. But okay, we also know, if they use it in a propaganda context, if they twist what that means. What is universal, pinpointed moral precision? Well, it's not to be in an allowed church. Why are they allowed? Because they're doing the wrong thing. It's not to do it the white man's way, the black supremacist way, any ethnocentric way. Okay? It's universal, pinpointed moral precision. It's not lying to make your race or your political party or your nation look good. It's not propaganda, psychology, theater arts. It's universally true. It's 1 + 1 = 2, except for in terms of morality. You don't cheat the most righteous person that ever lived. How do we determine how he's righteous? Well, it's 1 + 1 = 2 in terms of morality and reality. Okay? We look at martial arts. We look at evolution.